What's up, guys? It's Kara here, and I'm back for another delicious recipe. So tonight I want to make something that's one of my favorite type of desserts. Anything chocolate and peanut butter, as you guys know, is my favorite combination. So we're going to make some ooey gooey chocolate peanut butter bars. And for protein, I am going to use the MTS peanut butter fluff. You can certainly substitute this out with any other MTS whey protein that you have on hand. Should work pretty nicely. However, I do not stand behind recipes if you don't use MTS whey. I cannot guarantee how they will turn out. But we're just going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start by preheating your oven at 350 degrees. We are going to bake these, but they do not take too long to bake. What you are going to need is just an 8x8 pan of any sort and some non-stick cooking spray. Just spray the shit out of that to lube it up. And set it aside. All right, to get started, we're going to start with the wet ingredients first and add them to your bowl. So the first thing I'm going to add that I'm using today, I am using the P28. This is their standard protein peanut butter spread. Up to you guys, you don't have to use a protein peanut butter. You can get the P28 at tigerfitness.com as well. I like this nut butter because of the creaminess to it. It's got a nice consistency, and it also adds some protein to the recipe as well. But you can certainly sub out any other type of peanut butter, almond butter, whichever you like. But we're gonna add 1 full cup of that. And I love, like I said, I love the consistency of this. If your peanut butter is a little bit too thick for mixing, if it's not going to be mixable, you can go ahead and maybe heat it up in the microwave for like 30 seconds or so. Probably if you're using more of a natural peanut butter, you might want to do that. So add 1 full cup to your bowl, and then next we're going to add 1/4 a cup of unsweetened applesauce. This is a great substitute in baking for adding any oil or butter, things like that. So just 1/4 a cup of that plain applesauce mixed in there. And then my other wet ingredient we're going to add is just 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. It's sticky. It's very sticky. So we're just going to open it up this way. And 1 teaspoon. I love the way vanilla smells. If you don't have vanilla on hand, you should. I use it in a lot of my baking recipes. You can't go wrong with adding vanilla extract to any of your baked goods. It just helps bring out some really nice flavors in your recipe. So go ahead and kind of stir this up just a little bit before we add the dry ingredients to it. And next, we're going to add all our dry ingredients to this. Like I said, I'm going to use the MTS peanut butter fluff, and I'm going to go ahead and add 1.5 scoops of this. Yes, scoopers on the top. There's 1, about 1/2. Throw that in there. Okay. Next, I'm going to add for sweetener. I'm using Splenda. Sweetener is optional, whatever you guys prefer. You can use stevia, you can use sugar, whatever you like. 2/3 cup. Throw that in there so it's nice and sweet. What else do we got over here? Baking soda. We're going to add some baking soda. 1.5. Forgot I got a little vanilla on this, but that's okay. We're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of our baking soda. This is crucial. You need to add the baking soda to this for your product to rise. So you should always have baking soda, baking powder on hand. There's 1.5. Making a mess over there, but that's all good. And then we're gonna add a little bit of Himalayan pink sea salt. Just recommend adding like 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. I'm not gonna measure it. I'm just gonna put a few cranks in there. And that again is good for baking. It helps bring out the flavors. And for flour, we are gonna add a little flour to this. I am going to use some organic oat flour. Again, you could use whole wheat flour, you could use spelt flour, you could use almond flour, whatever you have on hand, or if you don't have anything on hand, you could simply just grind up some oats or use whole oats if you want. Get creative. So I'm going to add in 1/4 cup of oat flour. Okay, that's in there. And the only other ingredient that I have on hand over here is some Silk creamy cashew milk, unsweetened. But before we add any of that in, what I first want to do is mix this around. Now it's going to be really tough to mix around at first. Mostly dry ingredients have went in here, but be patient and just give yourself a few minutes of mixing it until you kind of form a nice cookie dough batter. So don't get too wild and just slap in some milk and say that looks too dry. You gotta just kind of like, you know, work it a little bit. Work, okay? So I've been mixing it a while and you can tell it's kind of turning into that nice cookie dough type consistency, but it's still a little dry. And don't be afraid to get in there with your hands. I am gonna go ahead and add a couple tablespoons of my milk to this. I don't have a tablespoon, so I'm just gonna guesstimate. That looks about right. I'm just gonna start a little bit at a time and mix it around because you don't want to overdo it. One more tablespoon in, ish. All right, so I did end up adding 2 full tablespoons, maybe about 2.5 of the cashew milk, which seems to be perfect. But again, if you're using a different nut butter, different protein, things like that, definitely may vary a bit. So just take it slow. Now what I'm going to do is add in, this is optional to add in some chocolate chips. Today I'm going to be using these Lily's dark chocolate, no sugar added chips. And I've got measured out over here 1/4 cup. I'm going to go ahead and add most of these to the batter, but I'm going to save some to kind of put on top for aesthetics. So just go ahead and mix that in. And then we're just going to take our 8x8 pan that we've already greased and go ahead and drop your batter in there. Okay. And then we're just going to simply smoosh it down nice and even into your pan. All right, so we've got it all smushed down in our pan. I'm just gonna take the last of my chocolate chips, pour them on top and kind of push them in there. And then we're gonna throw this in the oven, like I mentioned, 350 degrees. And we're actually only gonna bake it in there for about 10 minutes. So we're gonna take it out of the oven. You're gonna wanna let it cool for about 20 minutes. Going in, we'll see you when it's all done. All right, guys, so we took our chocolate chip peanut butter bars out of the oven after 10 minutes. If you want, you could cook them a little less, totally up to you. They smell delicious. The peanut butter and the chocolate flavors combined smell so good. So you're gonna wanna go ahead and you can cut these into 12 bars. And you can easily just store them right in the fridge, or if you don't think you're gonna eat them within like 3 to 4 days, I would throw them in the freezer and these will store just fine. I always suck at cutting stuff evenly. I'll cut one and see if we can get one out and show you what it looks like. I don't like corner pieces. I don't want no corner pieces. So there you go. Smells delicious. You guys can add any other like toppings or fillings you want to these bars, nuts or coconut, whatever you want. Get crazy with it. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. Give it a try. Don't forget to go to tigerfitness.com to get your MTS whey as well as P28 peanut butter if you want to use that. Keep checking back for more.